Shen Dance Arts is a company that was started up in 2000 by a man named Shen.
It goes through the hands that someone has to find you, girl. God said,
He was originally from China. He started dancing at the age of 6. He was in a Chinese opera company, and from there he joined the very first modern company in China. He got a scholarship to come to the States due to his work with choreography and the work with the modern company in China. And he started creating some work in the States here, and from there created his own company called Shen Dance Arts. I chose to do Shen Dance Arts, more specifically one of his most famous pieces, the Rite of Spring, for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm currently immersed in doing the Rite of Spring choreography here at School of the Arts, and also because I find Shen Dance Arts to be a very fascinating company and pushing the boundaries of dance. This year, I've been involved doing the Rite of Spring, Shen version of it, and it's been an eye-opening experience. It has really changed the way that I see dance. It is in honor of the 100th anniversary of of Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, and we just performed that down in Chapel Hill. It was a process to do this piece. We started back up in January with long, grueling rehearsals, but this piece has really changed the way that I dance. It's very different in the fact that it's not all modern dances are done like this. Shen wanted to strip this piece of all meaning and all story and just create a piece based off movement for the movement purpose, for the music purpose, and also for the visual purpose.
I spilled the bed across the page, trying to spell your name. So I fold it up and I flick it out. Make aeroplane. You won't fly yourself on the 60, 'cause you didn't make my room. But it always happened to someone else. Garbage man. God said, God said, So he opens it up, drinks it out to all his friends. Amongst the crowd, a heart bright and a heart will mend. Walks home, tired and run, the letter falls from his hand.
With the Rite of Spring, he incorporated a lot of different elements into this piece. One key element that he does is what's called a soft focus or an unblinking focus. It is where you open up your mind and open up your sight to a very straightforward focus where you don't blink, and eventually everything around you becomes shapes and forms and blurs the images, but you become very aware of everything that's around you. With all your other senses, and also with your like kind of like your third eye. You're aware of the people in the space that are around you. You know what's happening, and you are affected by the energy that's around you. And that's one thing that Shen Dance Arts capitalizes on is the energy from the dancers, and that is what moves you through space. Another thing that he takes use of is momentum. He's very much captivated by the thought that one movement in your body can trigger another movement, and that carries you from movement to movement. Shen created his own technique called natural body movement, and it's based on a lot of breathing exercises, the internal chi, and also a lot of his own choreography that he's come up, and a lot of it's represented in the Rite of Spring. I chose specifically to do Rite of Spring for my philosophy project because I feel that it relates back to a couple of the philosophers that we've been talking about. One such philosopher is Dennis Dutton. He created what's called the 12 recognition criteria. In these 12 recognition criteria, one criteria is called representation. And in the Rite of Spring, there are several movements that Shen created. The best way for him to describe them to his dancers was by representing other aspects in life. There's one movement called the baby rotation that looks like a baby trying to get up off the floor. There's another movement called the waterfall that looks like the rise and fall action of like a water spout, or even the falling action of a large waterfall. Another kind of solo technique that we do, it's called signature solos, where the dancers start out by writing out their signature, and then they take that signature, put it on the floor, and they use their feet to write it out. And then they carry that movement up from their feet to their body, and they create a solo based off of their signature. There's another movement that he does is called rotation, where he represents that the joints, you can only move from your joints. Another one of Dutton's criteria that's represented in the Rite of Spring is direct pleasure. I know personally from learning this piece, it was hell to get through the process. We had a lot of injuries. We had there's 14 tracks in total in this piece, and we would go track by track and section by section and learning this choreography. And it was a long process. And the first time we ran it was an amazing sensation to feel. All of us danced, all the dancers that were in this piece, we immediately, when we were done, stopped, looked at each other, and we said we did it. And we just felt this joy and the satisfaction of doing this piece. And performing it on stage in front of an audience added another sort of pleasure to this piece. It's different, one thing to perform a dance in a studio, and then when you get on stage and have the audience looking at you, the lights, and you have the adrenaline going, and when you perform a 45-minute piece, such as the Rite of Spring, and you're done with it, and you walk off, you feel accomplished. You feel like you have stepped over this obstacle. Another one of Dutton's criteria that he uses is skill and virtuosity. And this talks about how it takes a certain amount of skill to do and create artwork. And obviously, dance takes a certain amount of skill, but the Rite of Spring also takes an even more set of higher skills that are acquired over a time period. We spent long hours learning the techniques behind the Rite of Spring and Shen dance arts, and after a while, the skill just becomes ingrained in you. Dutton is just one of the philosophers that we talked about. Another philosopher is John Dewey, and his book, Art as Experience. And I believe that also captures a lot of what Shen dance arts is trying to portray in their work. Art is not just seen as a final product. Art is experienced as an audience member and also as an artist. With the piece Undivided Divided, you walk around looking at the other dancers creating artwork themselves, and it adds another aspect onto it. Not only does the audience get involved, but the audience is also part of the performance. Where they walk through space creates lines, where they stop and how long they stop creates different rhythms and different textures in the way that people walk around and interact with each other. And with the Rite of Spring, the experience with that is twofold. The audience experience it in the fact that they're always on their seat. They're always on the edge of their seat. For 45 minutes, there's no stop in the music. There's no break. It's straight through. And when it's done, there's this big sigh of relief that comes from the audience. They realize it's done. They experience the overwhelming hardship that we experience through the piece as well. And as an artist, as a dancer experiencing this piece, we experience the pleasure, we experience the pain, the struggle that came through this piece as well. So it's been an eye-opening experience to do this Rite of Spring and also be in this philosophy class at the same time, because it's changed the way I see myself as a dancer. It changes the way I go about choreographing. It changes a lot of things, and it's really been an eye-opening experience.